Hello, everybody. Victoria's here.
Yay.
Hi, Victoria.
Yes, we did it for you. You and
Yes,
Alessandro.
yes. Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome if you are watching this on replay. Thank you so much. Let us know in the comments if this is on replay, if you want to talk about any buddy reads you had or any of the books we talk about. We would really love to hear from you.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Alyssa. It is a lot of buddy reading. You're correct.
That is a lot of buddy reading. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, well, welcome everybody. This is so exciting. Thank you so much to Tiffany for coming on this live with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Tiffany and I, we just seriously, all the time, we're talking about books that we want to read, are reading, or have read together.
Yeah.
We like Vox all the time about this stuff. So we didn't even realize how many books we had read.
Yes,
together.
especially because there's quite a few that we planned to read together, and then there's some that we read kind of adjacent to one another. So around the same time, and we ended up talking about them all the time. So they weren't necessarily planned buddy reads, just how it worked out.
We just influence each other a lot.
Yes, Christy's my number one influence.
Yeah, well, and after I saw our list, I would have to say you're mine as well. Yeah, hello. Tony is here.
Hi, Tony.
Welcome, Tony.
And
Penny!
Yeah, don't type while you're driving.
Yeah, good idea.
Listening's good. Hello.
Cool gamer. Welcome. So yeah, let us know in the chat if you've read any of these books or if you have any thoughts on them. And yeah, we just the interaction is why we are live. It's so fun. So
It is.
but if you're driving, don't interact. That's a good tip. All right. So shall we just start out with, let's see. I've got our list of books here. Should we just talk about the books like one by one, which ones we read?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Was the
Sinner
same order?
Yes. I have it still in the order that you sent me.
Oh,
so
good.
how do you keep track?
I have my text. I screenshot the text I sent you. So I'm so organized.
Yes. Now, okay, so Tiffany is the one who was organized enough to figure out how many books we read together this year. How did you figure that out?
I just went through Goodreads. I'm not that organized.
Okay. So are these in order? Because we read
sort of, because I have them grouped as books we actually plan to read together, books we DNF together, and then books we read around the same time. So they're not totally in the right order. They're in the right order in each category.
Wow. You are so organized. Like, I just have a bunch of Google Docs, and if I want to find my thoughts on a book, I search the title of the book in my Google Docs, like all of the docs.
I don't even do Google Docs that much, so that seems more organized to me than what I do. So I write things down everywhere, and then I lose where I wrote them down. So,
but if you put it like publicly on Goodreads, you actually have to like have thoughts to say.
Sometimes I just give a star rating.
Okay. That makes it a little simpler.
Yeah.
I'm watching my mascara dry out here because shortly before we went live, I was like trying to put my makeup on. I only got it on one eye and I was gonna dip it, and I was like, where did it go? So I'm just gonna watch it dry out here because I can't find it right now. That is how organized we are today.
Yeah, that's the kind of day we're having. Candide.
Yes.
I have not read that yet. That's going on my list for next year. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to think of it. I have trepidation. But I feel like it's referenced in everything. I do. It's referenced in everything, especially like French and Russian stuff, like Voltaire's everywhere. And I'm like, I need to read it. It's short, at least.
I know. He is one of those thinkers that is like referenced everywhere, like you said.
Yeah.
The only person that I know other than Tony now who has read it. What did you think of it, Tony? Tell us what you thought of it. Um, you're gonna be influencing us into this buddy read next year.
Yeah.
um, what was I gonna? Oh, Jenny. Jenny's the only one that I remember actually sharing her thoughts on Candide, and I'm pretty sure she didn't like it. So
That doesn't bode well. I have a subscriber that read it and said she really liked it, but she had to keep reminding herself it was satire the whole time.
okay. So it wasn't exactly funny then.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was that or if it was a more sensitive subject to her that it was would have been annoying otherwise, or I
Oh,
don't know. I'm not sure.
okay,
I
that
have no
makes sense.
context.
All right, so let's start off with we read sorry, I have to lean forward to type because my laptop is getting fixed by my work IT. So I'm on my phone today and I can't type it on my phone. That's not happening. So the sinner and the saint, who I don't even remember the author of that.
Kevin Birmingham. I don't know why I remember that, but I do.
Wow. Yeah, that's just your brain. You're so organized. Wow. So this one we read, yeah, pretty much at the same time. And
Mhm.
I remember you were like, I thought this was going to be a leisurely read because it's nonfiction. And I just like blew through it because I was on audio. Um, and so, but we still read it pretty much the same time.
Yeah, I caught up to you eventually, or maybe I finished it a week or two after you, not that long after. But yep,
Yeah. So this one was interesting because I wasn't it was kind of confusing what it was supposed to be. And his thoughts on like Crime and Punishment at least, we were just like, really? I don't think
yeah,
so.
we
Like,
didn't agree with a lot of his analysis, and I also thought it was really interesting because for a book that was written about Dostoevsky, I thought it was really odd that he almost entirely left religion out of it. And considering how big of a role like orthodoxy played in Dostoevsky's life and also his writing, that seemed like a pretty glaring omission. And it also really tainted how he interpreted Crime and Punishment as a result.
yes. And that really affected our thought. We're just like,
Mm-hmm.
that totally changes the whole meaning of the book to us. But
And he was trying
he,
to connect it to like this guy who was killing people and saying that Dostoevsky
yeah,
got his inspiration for Raskolnikov from this guy. And like, I don't think he really proved that. And that's like the subtitle of the book.
yeah.
So some of it was really good. Like what he wrote about Dostoevsky's life and stuff was really interesting. And I enjoyed that. But I don't think he proved what was supposed to be the main point of his book.
Yes, that's exactly right. It was like it was a weird mixture of like biography and like criticism and I don't know. It was very confusing because we thought we were getting into like, specifically, I guess more how those two were related, Crime and Punishment and this real life murderer. And the connections just weren't really there. There was like a lot of summary of Crime and Punishment, which was like, I've already read this. we know,
Yeah.
and then the connections just weren't like that strong. So I don't know, it was good though, as like I enjoyed everything he said about Russia and like you said about Dostoevsky's life. He had some really good quotes about Russia
Mm-hmm.
itself.
I enjoyed the writing itself a lot, but I just felt like the analysis left a little something to be desired.
Yes, yes.
But the
I
writing
feel
was
like
surprisingly like readable, and I was flying through parts of it because I'm
yeah.
like, this is so fascinating. So I think I ended up giving it like 3 stars because I'm like, well, parts of it were really good, and parts of it I'm like, where are you getting?
Yes. That's exactly right. Okay. Okay, so this is thoughts on Candide from Tony. It wasn't what I expected. I always assumed Candide as a woman. He isn't. Oh, yeah, it's like Candace or something. It sounds like a
Yeah.
woman's name. That's hilarious. Oh, Victoria. Yes,
Oh, that's
that is
actually a
hilarious.
metaphor for how my month of December is going. So it can just be a metaphor for life right now.
Oh. No, this one is not about K-pop. That one is coming tomorrow, Thursday,
I
and
think
probably in the evening.
we do have a couple Korean books on here though.
We do. Actually, there's definitely some crossover now that you mention it, Tiffany.
There's like at least 2. I think 2.
And we have like a very high number of Korean related things on this TBR because we fell in love with K-drama and K-pop. So it is related.
Again, Christy's influence on my life. It's better. Yes. My life is better because of it.
Hello, Kavya. Okay, so Candide was funnier than Tony expected. It's a quick read, a series of adventures. Okay. Bad things happen, good things happen. All right.
I love this summary. Can we put this on the back of a book? Like, can we do that? I mean, isn't this at this point like public domain? Can we republish it and just put Tony's blurb on the back? And that's all that's on there. Because I love
That's
it.
like right up there with it was a book.
It's slightly better because just a little more detail.
Yeah. All right. Interaction in the comments. I love it. One of the former archbishops of Canterbury wrote a book. Oh, really? Now? That is cool.
Not know that. I gotta look for that.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. That's definitely the vibe today. It's cold in here. Yeah, okay. It's cold.
We might get snow this weekend. We'll see.
Oh, yes. See, that's the difference. It might be cold here, but we're not gonna get snow.
Amanda.
Hello, Amanda.
Oh, Alyssa, I've convinced you to read Dostoevsky, and so now I'm to convince you to listen to K-pop.
Yes. Influencing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love this quoting.
Krista, hi.
Krista! Yay! Yes.
Some people here.
Yes, I love this. You guys can let us know if you had any buddy reads too, since that's kind of the theme of this. Because I know Krista has buddy reads that she could talk about.
Buddy reads with days.
Yes.
I'm sure Amanda does too, actually.
Yes. Okay, so the next thing on our list of things that we actually read together. In your words. That's cute. A Bad Business!
Speaking of Dostoevsky, in a row. We read this with other people too, actually. Actually, Amanda read this with us also. She was part of that group, I think.
I think so, because I remember her commenting on them. That they were like more accessible. Wasn't this like your first? No, because you tried Dr. Zhivago with us, didn't you, Amanda?
That's coming. That's under the books we both DNF'd.
Okay. And then this was the one you actually liked out of the two. That's what I'm recalling. So, okay. This one was fun because I think everybody involved in the readathon really enjoyed it.
Yes, it was a universal love. This is a good place to start with Dostoevsky if you're scared of Russian literature.
Mm-hmm.
It's short and you get a good feel for his writing and his humor. So,
yes. Yeah, so this is like I think it's by Pushkin Press. It's a new collection of short stories that are not new because Dostoevsky's not alive anymore, but it's like a new translation of them. And I thought it was very readable and almost all of the short stories, I was like, yeah, this was wise. Good idea. I hadn't read all of them before, and there were some really funny, like magical realism ones. I don't know if that's the right term, but it had funny kind of fantasy twists, and his satire was on display.
It was perfect. It was perfect. And there was some really good, like, hilarity of drama, which Dostoevsky's really good at, especially in the title story. The drama of that one is just so good. Hilariously dramatic. So I think there was only one that I didn't love in the collection. And it was just apparently because I just didn't get it. I guess it was something that he published as a short story, but he ended up later adding to Notes from a Dead House, and it made more sense contextually in that than it did in the short story collection. So out of 6 short stories, we all loved pretty much all of them.
Yeah. That was such a weird inclusion. He included like this little section about the peasant Mari from Notes from a Dead House.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you trying to show his range? Because I don't know, it just didn't really make sense.
Maybe.
I don't remember what my favorite story was from this, but it might have been the first one. Do you remember your favorite story?
I think it was the first one, but I also really loved the crocodile. That one was really funny. It was like just so over the top. Like, I'm like, what is this? It was really funny. And then I also, I liked the Bobak one too, about the graveyard.
Oh, really good. That's right. That one was great.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yes.
Those were probably my top 3. And those were the funniest ones. The other ones were a little more serious. Well, a lot more serious, actually. We had 3 really funny ones and then 3 really sad ones.
Yes. Oh, that's true. Oh, the Bobak one. That was great. I had to actually make a video for that one.
Yes. I remember that. It was a good one. Go check it out, people.
Yes. All right. Well, you're not alone. I think K-pop, even though we love it with all of our hearts, it may not be for everybody.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
That's okay.
It's not. Like, there's lots of things that I don't love that lots of other people do, and that's fine. That's why there's different types of music, different types of books, all that kind of stuff.
Different things people find different things entertaining.
Yeah.
And same for Dostoevsky. So he might not be for everybody.
I want him to be for everybody, but it's okay that he's not.
Me too.
That hurts my heart more than K-pop.
Yes. Oh, that is fun.
I don't know if I really know my 18th century academics, though. Probably not. I'm not as smart as you, Tony.
We would need all the, like, so it sounds like maybe not one to get on Gutenberg, because we'll probably need the notes.
Oh, yeah, probably. I have a physical copy of it.
Oh, nice. It's like Dante.
Yay.
Oh, yay. Do you have a recommendation?
Alyssa's reading Demons with us, and it's her first Dostoevsky, and she is really enjoying it.
Exciting. Oh, that's so exciting. Do you read classics, Alyssa? Normally?
I think she's a little newer to classics. We read Little Women together. Was Little Women your first classic, Alyssa? I'm trying to remember. Like, she's just starting to get into it. And we read Persuasion together and also Little Men. So we've read some classics together.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
You have quite a history. I feel like you have buddy read history with so many people. You could probably do this live stream with lots of people.
I couldn't have that many books with that many people. You're still the one I read the most with.
Oh, I'm so impressed, though. I'm not a great buddy reader. I usually do read
Look at all the books we read together. It just has to be a book you're enjoying. That's all.
Yes, that's true.
You just don't have the bandwidth to push through a book that just ain't it right now, and that's fine.
That's so true. That's so true.
Fine. We can all benefit from that sometimes. Sometimes we push ourselves through books that don't need to be pushed through. and Dr. Zhivago. Who said that?
Oh.
Actually, no one finished that. Well, a couple people did.
I actually have it right here. It's like piled on my desk. I use
still
it
own
as
mine.
a stand because I don't actually ever want to read it.
I have mine because I'm like, maybe I'll try again someday. And then every time I think about it, I'm like, I don't want to. So we'll see if it stays on my shelf. Oh.
All right. Reading my first Dostoevsky now. Yes! Excellent. Yes.
That's what I
Okay, so you
thought.
did.
I
Okay.
know you were there for Dr. Zhivago as well. I was trying to remember if you continued that into Bad Business or not, or if Dr. Zhivago scared you off.
Woohoo! What was your first Dostoevsky? Did we talk? I'm sure we talked about this, but I don't remember. All right. 19%. It's Demons!
Way to go. That's awesome.
That is really awesome. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are really enjoying it. Una is just like living it up. He's loving it.
Taking vacation days to read it, so he doesn't
Yes,
have to work.
literally.
Read.
I love that. That's such a
Amazing.
mood.
I love it.
I really like it too. I think it's very funny. I love all the characters. I haven't gotten that
far in it, to be honest. I'll get back to it. I'm trying to finish up some books.
It's such a busy month. It's
the end of the year, and I'm like, it's a 3-month read along. It's fine.
Yes.
Agatha Christie. Okay, that's fair.
Oh, okay.
I did not read that.
She's a great place to start too for
she
classics. Yes.
Well, some of these are short stories too, so I guess that makes it a little better.
And some of them are DNFs, as we discussed.
And some of them, one of us finished and the other one DNF'd, so.
Yes.
Oh, the Christmas one was so good. That one made me cry. It has a very Dickens feel to me.
Yes. It was so touching.
I liked that one too.
This was in Bad Business, everybody.
Yes, sorry.
Highly recommend the collection. All right. Yeah, Little Women, that's another good place to start with classics.
Or Anne of Green Gables, that's another good place.
Yes. Oh, those are all the fun ones.
Yeah.
Just got to chapter the other night, and it is so entertaining. Yes, we have a Dostoevsky convert. That's my favorite thing to hear.
Oh, you DNF'd it too. I knew there was like 2 people that actually finished it, and I couldn't remember who it was.
Yes. I felt bad because they finished it and none of the hosts did.
I tried. I made it farther than anyone else.
Yeah, you did. You pushed through.
I think I made it like 30 or 40% of the way through. And then I just couldn't anymore.
I think I made it like 12% through or 15% through. I did not get
the first one to quit though. I think Evie was the first one to quit, and then you, and then Stephanie, and then finally I was like, why am I pushing through? Everyone else is quitting. I hate it too.
Oh, that was just a travesty. I guess now we've kind of talked about this.
Yeah, we don't need to go back to it. It's fine.
We don't need to go back to it.
We've processed our trauma. We're good.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I feel this like won the Nobel Prize or something, so we were all really expecting something amazing from it. But yeah, it was not very readable. The characters were, I don't know. It just
flatter than flat. The characters were so flat.
Yeah.
And he was just like he would write about something that was pretty important. Like 2 characters get married, but you get 1 sentence saying that they did. And then another scene is extended for like a whole chapter. And you're like, why? Why are we not focusing on things that seem like pretty important character development? So
That's right. The things he focused on, he would zoom in and zoom out so much. It was like you're watching a camera that's always blurry. It was just confusing.
Yeah. He did have good descriptions of snow and stuff, though. I'll give him that. There are a couple sentences that were very beautifully written. Also, he went into religion in it, and I couldn't figure out what in the world he was talking about. And this is someone who I am not like a theological expert, but I was raised in a parsonage. My dad's a pastor, and I've been a pastor's wife for the past 10 years. And I could not understand what he was trying to say at all. And I've never had that problem in any like Russian book before. I'm like,
I know, and it felt
that was
like
another thing.
Is this important to the meaning of the book? Because I don't get it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ugh, just not the best.
Yeah.
So we all DNF'd that. Okay. Oh, I saw that when I was on NetGalley. I wanted to read, or maybe, I think.
That sounds really...
Is it a new book? I feel like The Flood of Language sounds familiar.
I'm gonna check that one out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry if we missed it. I'm trying to find everything.
It's hard to talk and get all the comments.
Yes. Yes. Kindred spirits is a phrase that I use frequently.
You're right. Matt did finish it.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if he thought it was worth it or not. I think he did, but he didn't love it either. He didn't give rave reviews, if I remember correctly.
Somebody commented on one of our videos or live shows and said, it's obvious that Pasternak is a poet and not a novelist.
Yeah.
I think this was his first or maybe only novel. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. He's probably a great poet, but...
Oh, you know who else finished it? Courtney from Courtney Reads. That's the other person who finished it. And I think she liked it more than Matt did. I don't know. She was glad she read it. I was like, that makes one of us. Good job. I'm proud of you.
Yes. Seriously, I was so impressed that anybody actually finished it. Okay. Bye, Alyssa.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out. Yes, awesome. What are you making, Penny? Yeah. I've never seen another readathon where all the hosts DNF'd it either. That was my first.
It was pretty rad. That's really the other book that we DNF'd was one we read with Victoria.
That's true. But that was a buddy read. That was different.
Yeah. I know. And she might have finished it, actually.
I don't think she finished it. Okay. I think she got farther than we did, but I don't think she finished it either. I don't know. Did you, Victoria? So what are we talking about?
We're talking about Letters and Papers from Prison by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I did not get even very far in it at all. Christy got farther than me. I had a hard time with it because it felt like there's a lot of unnecessary details and letters. It actually said on the cover of my book, like, now newly expanded. And I'm like, it needed to be trimmed a lot because there was a lot of letters that he was writing home from prison that were like, hey, could you please send me my extra suit and a pair of shoes? I mean, like, lots of stuff like that. And then there were some that cigarettes. And I was just like, it was just, I don't necessarily always love letters anyway. So that made it that much more difficult.
Yeah.
To get through. There weren't even, the point that I got to, there weren't even that many great nuggets yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like, I definitely thought there were some great quotes in it, but it was just that it's not like I was finding them every day. It's like I found 2 or 3 throughout all the days that I read it. And I just was like, I don't know if it's worth it to read all of this. I don't know. And it wasn't very clear. Like, I felt like it wasn't going to be like authoritative about what Dietrich Bonhoeffer actually concluded in prison or anything. It was like,
Yeah.
it was really something that you might read for a school paper or if you're a historian or something like that. It wasn't really for a casual reader. That was my thoughts on it.
I agree. I agree with that. It's a good assessment.
That's a good assessment. I like it. Okay. Let's see. Where were we?
Sorry.
Oh, really? So Tony's read some of Pasternack's poetry, and it was hard. Okay.
There was some poetry in the back of Dr. Zhivago, and I think I looked through one or two and didn't really enjoy them either. They're supposed to be poems that Dr. Zhivago himself wrote, but obviously Pasternak did, and I was like... That was my face most of the time I was reading that book. Like a side eye. I'm like...
We need to zoom in on your face right now. Can I do that? Wait, no, I don't. It's just on me. I don't know why that. Okay, that didn't work.
That's okay.
Where were we? Here we go. I don't know how to switch the zoom.
I didn't know you could zoom.
It's just like a changing the screen layout, but I don't know how you pick who is on the big screen. Noah's played around with that stuff sometimes. Okay.
Okay, she didn't finish.
Halfway is really good, though.
It is. I seriously probably made it like 50 pages. I'm not kidding. Like, that's not good. That book is like 500 pages long or something. It was long.
Yeah, I think I made it to like 100 pages or something.
Yeah, you made it past me for sure.
Because I was motivated by those couple quotes for a while, but then I went like 3 or 4 days without finding any good quotes, and I was like, never mind. But I feel like you and Victoria are both like way more of completionists than I am. Like, I might have that tendency, but I'm so slow that I just think, do I want to spend 3 more months plotting my way through this at the expense of other books?
Oh man, when you frame it as 3 months, like,
because literally that's how long it will take me to finish a giant book that I'm not really enjoying. It just takes me forever.
That was supposed to be a Lent read too. Yeah. We were reading that together for Lent to prepare our hearts for Lent, and we're like, I'm making the Dr. Zhivago face again. I just realized that. It wasn't like a terrible book. It just wasn't interesting, and I was getting nothing spiritual out of it, which defeated the purpose of reading it for Lent. So.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like, I'm feeling so spiritually enlightened by this book.
I think it would have been different if I was like, oh, I'm fascinated by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and I want to read what he was thinking in prison. Then I might have had a different motivation. But my motivation was to spiritual, and it was not really that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, because originally I wanted to read this because I was interested in his brain and his thoughts. But then I read elsewhere, it might have been a YouTube comment, because I had read the biography by Eric Metaxas on him, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. I also wrote a book way back when, about civil disobedience was like one of the big themes. So I was trying to read a bunch of like MLK and Gandhi. And so I was just really interested in people who had to go against the government for their most deeply held beliefs. And so I was interested in him, but one of the commenters had said the Metaxas biography made it sound like he was in line with most Protestant beliefs. But in reality, he was leaning more towards ecumenical, and those are broad generalizations. And then I was less interested in it at that point.
So. Even the description on Amazon, once you had brought that up to us, I read the description on Amazon, and I was like, and the intro. I think you saw stuff in the intro too that said something about.
Yeah, like his best friend.
Some weird things, but that doesn't mean that he necessarily landed there. because it's not like he got a chance to fully work through all the things he was questioning and thinking about either. When you write a letter to a friend because you're like, I wonder if this means this, it's not because you're ready to publish it and share it with the world.
Yes. And he was so young. I feel like with so many of these great thought leaders of the past, they were killed so young. And it's just such a shame because seeing where they would have ended up would have been so, I just feel like it would have been a real journey.
Yeah.
Joanna! Yay!
And Mark!
Hi, Mark! Yay, so many friends here.
Yes.
Oh, BLT. Yum. We just had hoagies giving with my parents.
Giving. That's so fun.
Yes. So my dad makes us big sandwiches on like French rolls, and he has like a special dressing that he uses. And it's got like mounds of lettuce and tomatoes and meats and cheese. It's so good. I actually had the salad version because sandwiches aren't agreeing with me at the moment. But Kevin assured me that the hoagie was glorious.
It'd be good as like a chopped salad anyway.
It was. It was good as a chopped salad.
Yeah. Claire loves non-pizza. Like she would eat that every day for lunch.
Yes. That's like, I've been seeing TikTok recipes of people making little pizzas out of those Aladdin breads, you know? Looks so yummy. Like margarita pizzas.
Yeah. It is.
Yes.
Long. I haven't read it, but that's why I haven't read it. It's because it's so long.
I felt like it did take me a while, but this was before BookTube. So, and it may have even been after school. So I feel like I had plenty of time.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let's spread hoagies giving across the country. That was my husband Kevin's idea. His other idea was pizzas giving. And I was like, really? No. We can have pizza anytime.
Pizza's giving.
Pizza's giving. We have done that on our, like one of our first Christmases, we had pizza Christmas. We had pizzas for Christmas. And that was fun.
I love it. I didn't know you wrote one on Luther.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool. He's wrote a couple biographies that were interesting. Okay, let's move on here. By the way, if my mom pulls up, I might have to go run and let her in because I forgot to unlock the front door. So just in case I have to go run and answer the door.
Yeah, we're not getting as far as we might have hoped by this time.
Yeah. I kind of was like, maybe an hour? No, it's going to take a little longer than that. All right. Although, okay, so let's do Emma by Jane Austen.
We read that with some people too. Same people we read Dr. Zhivago and A Bad Business with. So
yes, that was fun because we both listened to it. Right?
I almost entirely listened to it on audio because right before we started reading Emma, I got a puppy. So I was walking all the time. And before that, I was not walking very much. So walking time became either catching up on Voxers or listening to an audiobook. And so Emma was like the first book that I really listened to on audio while I was walking. And I really enjoyed it on audio.
A first for you.
Well, I've listened to a couple other ones. I mean, during walking.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I listened to some of the Count of Monte Cristo while I was walking too at the end of July, but I read a lot of that physically as well. So
I remember voxing with you through this period, and I was like, I'm so excited you're getting into audiobooks.
Yeah, because I really have not enjoyed audiobooks in the past because I get too distracted. But if I'm walking, there's not much else I can do. So
yeah. Yes, exactly. It does help you if you're just walking rather than if you're around people or something.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
No.
I don't know what this means. Are you talking about a K-pop idol? Okay. Joanna got through Metaxas's Bonhoeffer bio because it was on audio. Ah, yes, that would help.
I like nonfiction on audio. I'm listening to the Romanov sisters right now on audio.
Yeah.
It's really
How is
good.
that going? Still
Really good. I love it so much. I'm like halfway through.
Yes. That is cool. Who's that by?
Helen Rappaport.
Okay, cool. That is really fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, oh my word.
Like
She's
the
not a
first
good friend.
30%, I was just like, oh gosh. And then the picnic scene.
Yeah, once
But
Christy got through the picnic scene, she's like, all right, I can finish this book.
then I
The
started
worst
enjoying
ever.
it.
Oh my word. It's funny though.
Rainy!
Hi. Are you working from home today?
Yes. Merry Vlogmas. Everybody go check out Rainy's channel.
Yes.
She's doing Vlogmas.
She is on it. I'm amazed.
Yes. Me too. Like, that's a lot
I'm behind
of
on
energy.
them though, Rainy. I'm sorry. I'm behind on a lot of videos because Vlogmas, there's so many videos out at the same time.
Yes.
Be watching all these into February at this point.
Oh, yes.
You would love it, Alyssa. It's so funny. It's probably one of her funniest books, I would say. Although, in a way, it's one of it might be my least favorite just because I don't connect with Emma as a protagonist all that much, but I absolutely love the humor in Emma. It definitely makes up for it, in my opinion. So, I mean, it's still a 4-star book. My least favorite Jane Austen is still a 4-star book. So, still really good.
Exactly. Jane Austen can really do no wrong, but it's still fun to rank them, you know?
Right.
Because Jane Austen is one of those authors where it's like, it's not hard to read all of her works. She's got like 7 or something, and they're all like really good.
Yes.
So. I said no. Oh, are you? Okay.
That makes
Wow.
me feel better.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. Because it seems
It
like
was.
yeah.
She was
She didn't
talking
like
to me like 2
pre-film.
days before, and she was like, I don't know, should I do it? Yeah, she's not pre-filming.
Yeah,
She's
it's like a
amazing.
new vlog of every day. And she puts it up at the end of the day. So like, that is so cool.
Superwoman.
I'm so confused. I said no. Like, do I need to block you or something? Okay. Yeah. Same. Same.
Yeah, I don't really even try that hard at this point, honestly, unfortunately.
That can cause a
Well,
lot
I
of
kind of
angst.
try, but yeah, I just have to realize that people are going to be okay with the fact that I'm behind.
Yeah, because I was like, would I be upset with somebody if they missed some of my videos? No. So are they going to be
Yeah.
upset with me if I miss some of their videos? No, they probably won't even notice. Like, I think actually Victoria is literally only the person that I've watched every single video that she uploaded since I found her. she's the only one. That's pretty rare for me.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to do it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wait, there's a Vlogmas video. Oh, you're hurting Christy.
Oh yeah, I love
Oh,
Mansfield
Christy.
Park.
Actually,
But everybody hates Edmund, so I don't know.
Mansfield Park is the one that I need to reread that I haven't read since I was like probably like in high school. So that's my last one left to reread of her work. So I'm not including that in the ranking.
I will be very interested in your thoughts.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't remember seeing, maybe this has happened before, but I just don't remember ever seeing somebody literally vlog every day for a month. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that probably does help. I don't have as many to keep up with.
She does it for you, Christy, so you can keep up.
She does it for my peace of mind. But I would
Yeah.
be happier if you posted all the time. Like, I would love to see your life in detail. But thankfully, I get to talk to you, so I still get to see it, in some detail. You don't have to vlog it. Yes, I feel like it grows on a second read and also as you get older. That's what people have told me. I loved it as a 16-year-old. I was obsessed with it as a 16-year-old. I just fell in love with Fanny instantly. And she's great chronic illness representation. And she's so, everybody talks about, I don't know, they don't like her character as much. Or if they like her, she's not gripping to them. But I just found her so gripping because everybody tells her what she should do, what they think that she should do. And she's like, no, I know what is right. I'm going to do it anyway. And it's just like, she's such a strong character, even though, and I know that was hard for her, she doesn't have a strong personality, but her character is strong.
I actually remember nothing about Mansfield Park, so.
Yeah,
right,
you guys should do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, good question.
Well, I think we know who Christie's is.
Well, I don't know that Edmund is my favorite, but like I don't hate him like everybody else does. I just think.
I thought she meant like heroin, I guess, not the guys, but maybe she did.
Oh yeah,
the guys.
Here. Oh, I see. That's a good point. Yeah, I think Fanny is my favorite of the women. Yes.
I think I most relate to Catherine Morlands from Northanger Abbey because that was very much me as a young girl. I was always, and I'm very worst case scenario a lot of times in my own life. I can be optimistic about other people's lives, but my own life, I'm like, well, what if this happens? What if this is going on? What if this is? And so I can relate to that. And Peter is Henry Tilney to my Catherine Morland. So I'm like this. That was the one I didn't read in high school, was Northanger Abbey, which is hilarious because I would have loved it in high school. So I read it like 2 summers ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I think Austen heroines are usually the ones we see ourselves the most in, the ones that we can most relate to, the way that their brain works. And I can't relate to the way Emma's brain works. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I can relate to some of the other ones. I love Anne too from Persuasion.
Oh yeah, Anne is great too. Honestly, all of her heroines are great.
Yeah, I love them all, really. But yeah, I would say that I relate. I relate to her.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. That's exciting. I literally just read it earlier this year, or I would be like, I want to join you. But could I be in the chat? Would you guys mind?
For sure.
Because I want to hear all of your thoughts on it. I can't get enough.
So we could either do it Feb Regency or do it for Jane Austen July. One of the two.
Yeah.
We'll talk details, ladies.
Woo! Yep, Feb Regency is coming up, guys. In February. We'll be announcing it very soon. Preach. What are we preaching? I don't remember. But thank you, Rainey. I get your spirit. Okay. I did.
You meant the guy. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mind Edmund. I don't know.
Sorry, Joanna.
He can be annoying, but can't all of them be annoying sometimes? I was annoyed
Yeah.
with all of the heroes at one point, you know. So
Not Henry Tilney, I hope.
actually, yes, I thought
Were
he
you?
was so harsh on Catherine when she was like fainting with terror. I just thought he was so harsh, but
Oh. He was
then he
actually, I don't
apologized
remember
later.
being irritated by him, actually. But I have been irritated with probably all the other ones. I see, and I'm seeing comments here. We'll get to these in a little bit as you're going through. But there's comments about Sense and Sensibility, and I don't like either of the love interests for Sense and Sensibility. Having reread it as an adult, I'm like, I don't get either of these. I feel like Colonel Brandon came out of nowhere. It's my personal opinion. I feel like there wasn't really an established base for that relationship. And then who Eleanor ends up with, I just think he's a jerk, even to the end. Sorry, guys. I do like Eleanor, though. So
That's the one I need to reread because I read it when I was young, and I
that
don't
was my
remember anything.
favorite when I was in high school. That was my favorite one, and so I was so excited to reread it. I reread it 2 years ago, and I was like I still liked parts of it, but I was just like, I don't have the same connection to it. And Marianne, I just wanted to throttle her.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Aw, yay! That's a great. I will live by that quotation. That's great. I will change my YouTube name to something with Fanny.
Can you really do that?
No, I can't.
I
But
knew it.
if I'd thought of it before when I was making I considered a lot of names with actually Flannery, and I couldn't come up with a good one for Flannery O'Connor.
Noah's
and so I went
got
with Dostoevsky.
Noah's
What?
got the Flannery channel.
Noah got it.
Yep.
Yeah, when I found Noah's channel, I was just like, yes, exactly. Instant sub. Okay.
I love Eleanor. I love her.
Oh my. I'm so behind in the chat. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I'm not sorry. I shouldn't be apologizing. But I will catch up. We'll do it right now.
See, this is why I was diving into Sense and Sensibility, because I could see these on the side of the screen. So I was like, oh, there's a lot of Eleanor chat happening.
I love this. This is a great discussion.
Joanna.
Yes.
I love Persuasion too.
Yes.
There's such like a depth and maturity to the characters because they're older.
Yes. I love this. Yes. I can definitely see Elizabeth Bennet in you, Victoria.
I do too.
I love that. You just make me laugh all the time. I feel like that's what it would be like to have Elizabeth in your life. Just constantly cackling. I'm kind of in Anne. Anne is lovely.
I love Anne.
I want to be in the chat too.
Be in the chat.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna have a Mansfield Park chat.
Oh yay! Right. Let's just do July then. I'm Penny can join too.
Yes. That's exciting.
It is. Oh, for February. Oh dang it! Now I'm torn. Now I'm torn.
I know.
We'll decide.
Oh, about Fanny. Yes. She is great. She's preach-worthy. I did a video preaching about her, in case you're all interested. Yeah, I was already convinced, man. I want to read it. At the moment, I'm a little bit, I don't know when I can commit to it for sure. My work got really busy, like maybe 2 months ago or something, because my boss wanted me to start doing all the social media as well as YouTube videos for my library. Plus, I'm in physical therapy. So I just don't know when those things are going to change. But if like one of them drops out, then I'll have more time for reading again. And I would love to read that in 2022, but we'll see.
2023?
2023, yeah. Not 2022.
You have 2 weeks, Christy. Hurry.
But I remember I read a bunch of that in the past when I first started my channel, and I was loving it. And I only stopped because I was like, I want to read this with people. I don't want to read it on my own. Oh, Henry is great. I mean, like they're all pretty great, I think. I don't know if I have a favorite hero. I've never picked one, but Fanny's always been my favorite heroine. Okay. Yeah. Right? He was another one that I was very annoyed with.
I mean, to be fair, he was getting some pretty mixed signals over the years, but
Yeah, I don't understand why people don't get annoyed with him because he does the same thing that Edmund does. And he does like less good. I think Edmund supports Fanny and helps her grow up and like tells her about books and is kind to her when nobody else is kind to her. He practically raises Fanny, and then everybody hates on Edmund. I'm just like, Edmund's a good guy. Why do you all hate him? I don't know. Oh,
lovely. I just reread it recently, so I probably won't right now, but I
that's
love
like
it so
an
much.
evergreen
I
series.
want to say yes to you, Amanda, just because I love it so much.
Yeah.
So many books, so little time.
Yes, Mr. Collins. He's a treat in all the adaptions too.
Oh yes, excellent boiled potatoes.
Fanny's face. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Yes, same. Traitors Rebellion
for 4th of July.
Wow, that is great.
I love it so much. So that's what the other side thinks was.
Yes, he's great too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I ever actually was annoyed with him. Now that I think about it, I think Mr. Knightley is just great.
I thought that he was a little. There were times I was annoyed with him, but I do love him, like because I like how honest. He's the only one who's honest with Emma.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I guess he can be a bit of a wet blanket.
I've been in love with you since you were 12, and I'm like,
yeah, okay,
you haven't
that's right.
said that.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good point. That's a good
different
point.
times,
I forgot about that.
I guess. Oh, I bet that's so good.
Fun.
I haven't seen the Owl's Nest version yet, but I've read their 2 new books this year, and I love them both. One of them is on our list. If we ever get back to it.
If we ever get the I have a story about Anne of Green Gables and Katie from Life Between Words, who is one of the people working on the publishing for Owl's Nest Publishing. And I remember listening to the Anne audiobooks like just on my own at one point, and I was like, yeah, they're fine. But I didn't really fall in love with Anne until Katie read her on Instagram. She has like a bunch of, I don't know if they were reels or I don't really remember, or lives. Were they lives? Where she was reading Anne, and I was just like, I love this. This is so great.
I just reread it recently and read it out loud to Claire. And oh my word, what a joy that was. We read the first 2 together, and then it started getting more romancy, and she was like, I'm out. So we stopped. We'll go back to it eventually.
That's funny. Yes, this has been fun. That really took over the chat here.
It really
We should probably get back to our books, but I'm almost caught up. Okay. I don't think he really wanted that other girl, that other lady. I think he was infatuated with her, but it was like his first time really having strong feelings for a woman. So I think that's why he was so blind. I don't know. I think he really loved Fanny. I really think he did. But he wasn't seeing Fanny as like an eligible person that he could, marry, I think, because he like partially raised her. So he had to make the transition between my sweet little cousin that I love to like a woman that I could marry. That was like that was quite a leap for him for a while.
I guess Knightley kind of did the same thing. Because
Yeah.
like both Emma and Knightley didn't realize they loved each other until there was a potential of that person being with someone else. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I love you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that was another element I didn't love about him, I guess.
That's a good point. It was like very out of the blue for me as well.
That's
when
how
I was
it felt.
reading
It felt like
Emma.
there could have been a little more groundwork laid there. But
yes.
I still love it, so don't come for me.
Okay. Are we talking about Anne still?
Yes. That's about Anne.
Yes, it was amazing. I loved that so much.
The second one's hilarious. It's really funny.
Yes.
Just as funny as the first one, if not more so.
Oh, and 8. Wow. I don't even remember what happened in 8.
8 is Rilla of Ingleside.
Oh, I haven't read that. Okay, JK. I haven't read the ones about the after Anne. I've only read, I think, the ones about Anne.
Okay, yeah, there's Rainbow Valley and then Rilla of Ingleside, which I don't think either of those are really so much about Anne.
Mm-hmm. Krista has read everything.
She has. She's a super fast reader. She reads a million books a month, and I'm always like, how? Like, you're a nanny and you do all these things with your church and another superwoman.
She told me, it was in a live. She mentioned that she listens to audiobooks in one ear while she's taking care of the kids and stuff. Like, that is smart.
How do you even retain anything? Because I can't do that with Claire. I feel like I'm either listening to the book and telling Claire to be quiet, or I'm listening to Claire and not hearing what's happening in the book.
Yeah, I can't. I have trouble with that too.
Oh, good. Mark's here. Rasselas.
Yes, Rasselas. We just read this
with Mark.
Mark.
Kate and Stephanie.
Yes.
Or Rating Project Gutenberg. This was a
yes.
one, which Christy DNF'd, actually.
I did DNF.
And I did not. I did finish it.
Yes. I partially DNF'd it because Tiffany was like, I don't think you're going to like it. Like, I don't think it's worth it.
She was debating whether or not she wanted to continue. And I was like, I don't think you're going to feel like it was worth your time. And I'm pretty sure that I'm correct.
The ending would have really had to blow it out of the water. And it sounds like it just didn't. So I was like,
the ending was like, the resolution to this is that there's no resolution. The answer is there's no answer. I'm like, oh.
Thanks, Samuel Johnson.
It was just an opportunity to discuss various philosophical thoughts in the guise of a non-existent story, which was not what any of us were expecting. If we were expecting it to mostly be philosophical and not at all really plot-based, I think we would have had different expectations going in. I don't think any of us hated it, but I don't think any of us were super wowed by it. I don't know if Mark was, I guess, because I don't think Mark couldn't make it to our live because he was sick. And I don't think he was in the comments because he was sick. Poor guy. He had the flu. So I don't know. Maybe Mark liked it more than the rest of us did. But the rest of us were just kind of like, it was fine. It wasn't great. It was kind of forgettable.
Yeah, it was kind of like, that's exactly right. We just weren't wowed. And I think when we saw it was by Samuel Johnson, we expected to be kind of wowed and laughing, and it was funny at times for sure. Like, there were some funny moments, but I just feel like he didn't have this is totally my impression, and I could be wrong, but it seemed like since he wrote it so quickly, he didn't really have time to edit his own voice into it and maybe shorten it a little bit, So it could have used more editing, in my opinion.
Oh, Mark says it was not Beck. Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes. We were all instead of Samuel L. Instead of saying Samuel Johnson, we were like Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
So we were all on the same page. All of us hosts were on the same page with that one then. I just read a book that referenced Rasselas, and I was like, hey, I've read that.
Yes. I feel like it's a good one to have under your belt because it definitely gets referenced.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what like all of us
That's
gave
what I
it.
gave it to. Stephanie gave it like 2 or 2.5.
That's
Stephanie
true.
disliked it, I think, more than the rest of us did. But she also like very like quickly read it in like an evening the night before. I might have made it a little. And she's like,
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it, and I just it's fine.
Yeah, that would make it not very memorable.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rest of us didn't think it was all that memorable either, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I don't think she was missing out by going that fast. Chris, okay, I just had a thought. Do you like watching adaptions? Because I feel like if you watch the adaptation of Crime and Punishment, you would be like very intrigued, maybe.
I didn't even know there was an adaptation of that.
There is on Prime.
Huh.
And I liked it when I watched it the first time because it had been a little while since I read the book. But when I rewatched it after reading the book, I was like, this is like the book is so much better. But I actually enjoyed it the first time I watched it when I wasn't comparing it directly with the book. So yeah, it might intrigue you. I don't know. There's a great plot to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, that does.
That you would listen more with babies, like.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. Southern Horrors.
We both loved this one. Well,
Yes.
loved.
Yeah.
It was hard to read, but
Yeah,
it
it
was powerful
was.
and important. So this also was for Rating Project Gutenberg.
Yes. This was a pamphlet by a civil rights activist and one of the founders of the NAACP.
Ida B. Wells.
Ida B. Wells, thank you. And I remember hearing her name in like history class, but I couldn't believe I'd never read this because it's so short, but it's like so impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically Ida B. Wells is quoting from the newspapers in the South, showing what the narrative was about Black men, supposedly raping white women. And she's like, actually, what's happening is the women are falling in love with the Black men, but society can't handle that. And so they lynch the Black men. And it was just like really horrifying to read. And all the quotes, it was just like, I can't believe these things got published in the newspapers.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So it was extremely disturbing and upsetting, but also like just very impactful and valuable. Yeah. Yes.
I think everyone who is an American needs to read it because I think it's important for us to have that context.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it would be a great thing to read in school, like along with, like before Letters from a Birmingham Jail,
Claire will read it. I've already made note. Claire will read it when she gets to high school.
Smart. Yeah. So highly recommend Southern Horrors. That was our favorite read. Both of ours, I think, right?
Yes.
For Project Gutenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least we got one winner out of Project Gutenberg.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do The Devil and Tom Walker.
I love this.
Yes. This is by Washington Irving.
Yes. Short story by Washington Irving. The reason that we read it was in conjunction with Faustathon, which I didn't have the time to participate and read any of the group reads. So I just read this, which is kind of a Faustian retelling, and Washington Irving knocks it out of the park every time I've read anything by him. I love him so much.
Yes, he's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And this one there's like audiobooks free on YouTube that are great. Like it's great on audio. Yes, and it just it's like so American, It's like I really love the Americanness of it.
Yes. And it's very insightful. at the same time too. Some of the things that Tom Walker is discussing with the devil, and the devil's like, well, you think that you're better than the people who are doing this, but your nation also has slavery, and look what you did to the Native Americans. You think I wasn't behind that? And I'm like,
yeah.
the time period that this was written in, I'm like, I know it was written in New England, but still the fact that both of those things were in there, I'm like, this is kind of progressive for the time that it was written, for him to have made such bold statements.
Yes. Yeah. He was really speaking some truth there.
Yeah, it was so good. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So Tom Walker and his wife basically meet the devil in a swamp one day, and you'll have to read it to find out what happens, because it's too short to go much beyond that.
Yes.
But it's very good. Highly
Very
recommend.
fast read, so.
And funny.
Yes, very funny.
Okay. The Sound of Thunder.
Another short story.
Yes.
By Ray Bradbury.
Yes. What did we read this for?
No reason. You had sent me a list of like 10 sci-fi short stories you should read before you die or something like that. And I just randomly picked The Sound of Thunder off of there. It was on there. And then immediately messaged Christy and was like, you got to read this. It's so good. It's so good. It's actually the only Bradbury still that I have read. I plan to read more of him, but that was my first and only Bradbury for right now. And it's very it's like Jurassic Park meets The Butterfly Effect. It's super interesting.
Yes. That's a great sales pitch right there.
I try. Everyone should read it. It's great.
Yes. It
was
and it's very,
very short. So if you're not sure if sci-fi is your thing, I think you'd still enjoy it, because it's dinosaur related. I can sometimes struggle with sci-fi too, especially if it's like outer space sci-fi and we've got like totally different races that don't exist and like creatures that don't exist. That can be difficult for me to imagine sometimes, but like dinosaur sci-fi kind of stuff, I'm in.
Yes.
Not as difficult to understand.
Yes. This is, exactly. That's exactly right. We'll just leave it there.
Just read it and you'll understand.
Just read it. It's great. Yeah. It's free online. Another one that's free online.
It is.
As is
what month did we read that in? I'm trying to remember. Was it July? I can't remember. Whatever month it was, whatever wrap-up month that was, I linked that short story list in that.
Yeah.
In that
if you Google it like free plus free, then it should show up. Okay, let's do. Hey, we're making progress here. Okay.
Now we are. All right. I think everything else we read is books that we kind of read adjacently. So like maybe we didn't necessarily plan to read these as buddy reads, but either one read it first and recommended it to the other, or, something like that. So we read them within like a month or two of each other and talked about all of them a lot. So.
Yes. Let me answer the comments really quick.
You're not that far behind. There's only 4.
Yes. Okay, great. Everybody's probably like, we should let them get through the list or this will never end.
Well, we talked about Jane Austen. That's what happened.
Yes. Jane Austen is so nice because everybody can talk about her and enjoy her. Yes. I do love adaptations, and with classics, I'm a big fan of watching first and reading the book. Yeah, because it helps you keep track. Like usually there's a giant cast, and if you kind of know what's coming, then you'll understand and maybe even enjoy the beginning a little more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a good tip. I feel like movies were like shamed for a while. You should always read the book first. Like, you don't have to read the book first.
Especially if it's a difficult plot or a lot of characters. I think that an adaptation can help and actually improve your reading experience.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. I need to watch that. Wow.
Watch party.
Yeah. Okay, I'm writing it on my hand because I don't have a note paper. John Hurt. Good tip. Thank you, Tony. John Hurt, 1979, BBC. Okay, this has been such a fun live. I feel like we're covering a lot of ground and learning a lot of things.
Yes.
Ooh.
I haven't heard of that.
I've only heard of it from Tony.
What the trees mean based on you recommending it based on Southern horrors, I can guess it. Probably also about lynching.
Yes. that would be a really, yeah. I feel like that's something I just need to learn more about. I'm like, so ever since I read The Groveland Boys by who was that by? I don't even remember. It was great though. It was like a whole bunch of history that I did not even know about. And Sharon Says So did an interview with the author of The Groveland Boys as well on her podcast, and it was like
cool.
So good. No?
What?
Wow. That sounds
Two
fun.
of my favorite authors. I have to read that.
Yeah. Well, if you do, let me know. I will check it out.
It could go on next year's list.
Yes. 2024. Yes.
If you like,
this would be a great one.
Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so entertaining.
It is.
Well, this is the reason for Expression to watch that.
I can't bring myself to watch that. I can't bring myself. I watched just part of Stephanie and Evie watching that together. They recorded a video of them drinking and watching it together. And I didn't get all the way through the video because I think the video was like 45 minutes or something. But just from the first like a section, I'm like, I won't be able to take this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching it so I don't have to.
I think I only got through it. Yeah. I think I only got through it because Kate's Patreon did a buddy watch of it. And everybody was hate watching it.
I was going to say Kate allowed so that.
Yeah. No, she fell asleep during it. So there's at least 2 people in that chat who fell asleep during the movie because they were so like non-invested.
Nothing says great movie than everyone falls asleep.
Yes. Scarred. Emotional damage. Has anybody seen that meme around? I can't say it because I don't.
Since I have seen it, actually. It was huge for a while. Now someone needs to bring it back.
Yes. I just discovered him. I had never heard of him. Yeah. I just watched the original video last night. Somebody John He? I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
So great. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, Rainey watched it again, and her commentary with Kate's Patreon group was just so great.
Rainey has the best commentary anyway.
Yes. Another one who will make you cackle.
Yes, always. Rainey always makes me laugh.
Okay. A Single Shard by Linda Sue Park.
Yep.
Okay. I might be misspelling this, but here we go. Ah, this was so good. This was a great one.
This was actually a reread for me. I read it a couple of years ago because I was trying to decide on books that I was going to read with Claire for school. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this book. And I ended up giving it like 4 stars. And then we read it for Readathon this year. And I read it with Claire this time and gave it 5 stars the second time I read it because I loved it so much. Oh,
I read this only on your recommendation. And yes, the end is like, yeah, it was so emotional.
It's a very unique setting too. This is a historical middle grade set in, I believe, 11th century Korea, which is super interesting. And it's basically about like pottery, like potters in this village trying like to get a commission from the emperor in China to be able to make things for him. So it's very prestigious. So it's really an interesting, a very different plot and a very, very different time period. I've never read anything set in that time period before. So super fascinating. Everything I've read by Linda Sue Park is great. She's Korean American. So she's written a lot of Korean centric books. And yeah, this one's my favorite by her so far.
Yes. I was so glad you recommended this to me because I don't think I would have heard of it or found it if you hadn't.
Yeah.
Was it a Newbery winner?
Oh, Krista says it is because she actually commented, said, I don't like most of the Newbery winners I've read, but I did love that one. So, or like that one, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't read very much middle grade this year, but I really enjoyed this one a lot. So
it's more slower paced than a lot of middle grades.
Yes.
But
I remember wondering if a kid would love it, and then I promptly got a comment saying, I loved this when I was a kid. So I was like, that answers my question.
Claire loved it. Claire absolutely adored it.
Well, Claire is brilliant, so of course.
She is. I'm a little biased, but big brain energy on that kid.
Yes. I feel like when I was a kid, I probably might not have finished it, but I wasn't that into historical fiction when I was a kid.
Claire isn't either. Claire's more of a fantasy girl, but she really did like it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the ending made it like so good. And it's like it's not a super long book, so I feel like waiting for the ending was not like that hard.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Okay. It's a good trait for a governor to have right here.
Rainey, we have decided, Rainey and I, that she's going to become the governor of Pennsylvania. And I'm going to be what is it? Assistant governor? What is that position called? I don't know. We decided this like seriously like a year and a half ago. So,
okay.
This is an ongoing thing between Rainey and I.
I would vote for you.
And well, she's going to make mandatory Regency era balls. So
yes.
That's
Thank you.
Lieutenant
we need
Governor.
To bring balls back.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And okay. I just want to say BTS's latest fashion, we also need to bring back. It's very Regency.
Yes.
Just putting that out there.
I'm liking it better than some of their past fashion stuff because I don't always get fashion. I'm just going to keep it real. I don't always understand.
I'm really hoping girls will go that direction too, because just seeing like Korean K-pop girl singers dancing in like Regency dresses, I don't know. I don't know. We could do without maybe the Regency hairstyles, but the dresses would be pretty.
Yeah. 100% agree. I too endorse this message.
Yes. Lieutenant Governor.
That's what it is. That's my position. My position is Lieutenant Governor. I actually almost moved to Pennsylvania, but we moved to Kentucky instead. So missed opportunity. I would have only lived an hour away from Rainey too.
Dang, that would have been really fun.
It would have.
To be able to visit Rainey.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the author of Please Look After Mom was.
Something like Sukshin.
Maybe. That sounds right. Regardless, it's a work translated from Korean, and I read it because RM recommended it. That's one of like the big ones that everybody reads that he recommends, one of the Korean authors. And I feel like a lot of people didn't like it and I understand like if you go in thinking it's going to be a thriller, why you might not like it, but I don't really love thrillers. So it had like a thriller hook, but it was really more about the characterization, especially of the mom. And I think that's why he recommended it. He recommended it, I think, so that you can appreciate your own mother more, And it's really about a Korean mom who takes care of her kids, and they're very poor, and she just works so hard to give them a better life. And it was like really good and heartbreaking and gave me all the feels. So good.
It was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I read it. This was one of those books that I read probably a month or two after Christy did. And I actually read it for Koreadathon, and I loved it. I would call it kind of more of like maybe like contemporary literary fiction kind of a deal. I don't really like contemporary fiction most of the time, to be honest, but this was really good, like relationally, like exploring relationships or lack thereof, honestly, a lot of times, and regrets. It's definitely a very sad book, and the whole tone of the book is one that's really tinged with like remorse and regret. But I really, really enjoyed it a lot.
Yes, exactly. It was like it was heavy, but it was.
I think
really,
you have to
really
be,
good.
and it could be one of those books. At least for me, I think it was one of those books that I would enjoy. I enjoyed it because I was in the right headspace for it. I think that there would be times where if I tried to read it, I would be like, nope. Yeah, I think it was just the right time. So I think that other people might have that same experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be ready for it not to be a thriller.
And it not to be very happy at any point, really.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Has to be the whole thing. Do you know what she's referring to?
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't remember.
Apologies,
Rainy.
The dang it is because I didn't move to Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
I have both of those also.
Victoria was reading Something Wicked this week, hon.
Look at the next comment. Did you finish it? Go to the next comment.
Yes. Yes, I think that was my problem with Ray Bradbury. I tried Something Wicked This Way Comes once, and I didn't finish it. I did finish Fahrenheit 451. But yeah, his writing style is like very. I remember reading his advice to writers because he was also a writing teacher, and he would advise his students to write 14 pages a day, and he said most of that will be utter trash, but then you'll come across gems once in a while. And I feel like that's what he did. He just like stitched together gems from his trash of writing. And so it's like interesting, but disorienting is a good way to put it, because he wasn't a plotter. You know, he didn't plan things ahead of time very well.
And maybe that's why short story worked so well, is because it didn't.
It's like one idea.
Yeah, and the Martian Chronicles, which Amanda mentioned, is a collection of short stories as well. I have like 2 short story collections by him, Something Wicked This Way Comes and Fahrenheit 451, and haven't read any of them, which is hilarious that I own so much by someone I haven't even read one thing. But my library had all those Bradbury books for 25 cents each. And I'm like, what if I love him and I kick myself that I didn't pick these up? I'm never going to find them for this price again. So.
Yes. I will be very curious about your thoughts on those.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about that one then. I feel like women's hairstyles in the past, I'm just always like, why did we do that to you? I'm sorry. But dresses can be nice sometimes.
Well, the problem with the Regency era, though, we'll probably have to wear corsets.
I don't think I could do that.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Actually, though, this is strange, but we were talking about this on a live on Jenny's channel last week, wearing corsets and how comfortable they are. I didn't see that, but she said that the corsets are comfortable. I think Rainey was there. Yeah, Rainey was the other person in this conversation, and I was like,
I thought that.
Wow, that's weird.
Maybe it depends on how tight you cinch them. If you're trying to make your waist too small, think of Elizabeth Swann from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Just depends.
The French fashion. I guess saying passion. That's passion. That's the Korean version of passion. Fashion. The Konglish word.
I love Konglish.
I know, isn't it cute?
It is. And it's easier for me to remember because I'm like, that's pretty close to the English word. Coffee.
And when Koreans say it, coffee. Yeah. Copy. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. Kopi has something to do with blood.
Oh,
Kopi. I remember when somebody was ordering that. Yeah, don't confuse those two in the coffee shop. I read it when I was pretty young, and I just thought it was a good thought. But yeah, I don't remember really loving it. I don't have any emotional connection to it that I can recall. I don't know. I think like his message was good, but I don't know. It didn't really stand out to me personally. I think I'm not really a fan of his, but I loved that short story we read together, so maybe his short works just work better for me.
Yeah. Or maybe it was a one-off.
Yes. Well, he's so popular. I mean, he must have good stuff out there. Yes, you were there. I remember. That was fun.
That's
Bernadette
interesting.
Banners. Oh,
Cody recommends the coolest stuff that I've never heard of.
seriously. She sounds familiar. I feel like possibly Emma recommended her before, but I could be wrong. I'm like looking it up right now.
I feel like that would check out.
Yes.
Based on what Tony said.
Yes.
Those
I
two
think that
things with Emma, like, yeah, okay.
because I'm subscribed to her, so yeah, it must have been from Emma. Okay. Next, let's do A Shadow in Summer. We're getting towards the end, guys.
Is Penny still here? If she's here, she will chime in so fast.
Yes.
This is the first of a fantasy quartet by Daniel Abraham called The Long Price Quartet. I actually just finished book 4. So, but this is the first book. And Christy read it a little bit before me. So,
yes.
It's very interesting. Very unique, I feel like, compared to a lot of other fantasy series that I've read. Haha, Penny's just like, yes, I'm here.
Yes.
She hears Daniel Abraham and she comes out of the woodwork. She will suddenly log on and not know why she needs to. Both the end, Penny told me I needed to read this. So, but anyways, it's a very slow political fantasy series with a lot of Asian inspiration and a very unique magic system that I've never heard anything like before. So I really loved book 1 and I didn't really like book 2. Book 3 was pretty good and book 4 blew it out of the water and made the whole thing worth it. So
oh wow, okay,
that's my thoughts.
So you finished the quartet.
I just finished it like on Monday.
Okay.
So I was messaging, it was late Monday night and I was messaging both Dia and Penny Tuesday morning and I'm like, I just finished it and I'm not okay. So you liked the first book though, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did, and I just haven't continued because it required a lot of concentration from me, and usually when I'm reading fantasy or like mysteries or something, see, when I'm reading genre fiction, I'm not usually reading it because I want to have a book to sit down and really focus hard on. you know? Usually if I'm doing that, I want it to be like nonfiction or classics. So, but it was like really unique.
Yeah, I do think that this is a fantasy series that requires a little more of you as a reader than some does. Like it, but just the way that the characters unfold, and I feel like there's just a depth of exploration of characters that I don't see in a lot of fantasy series. So that made a difference too. And also, this is a weird choice, but in between each book, you skip 15 years, which is a weird choice. But when you get to the end, it makes sense because you've known these characters now literally their entire life. And so that level of knowing them and seeing how they've changed or grown or not over their entire life has that much more of an impact. So at first I was like, I don't like this. This is a weird choice. I don't really love time jumps. And it's the same time jump in every book. But once I got to the end, I was like, okay, this was actually brilliant. There was a reaon.
That is very unique. I can't recall any series.
A lot of it is very unique. Like I'm not like the most well-versed person in fantasy. I'm just like in the past couple of years getting more into fantasy. But it's so different than anything I've ever read. Like it's really good. Recommend the series as a whole.
Yes. That's what Alan says too. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Agree. Yeah. Which everyone else told me too. So I already knew that coming in. But
yes, that we.
And I almost didn't stick with it because I really didn't like book 2 that much. I couldn't find one character that I was just like, oh, I like them. Even though it's the same characters, but I just found them less likable in that book, particularly the female characters. But I'm glad that I continued reading it, but it made me less motivated to pick up the rest of the series for a while, to be honest.
Let's see. Uh-oh.
Making the Dr. Zhivago face again.
Wow, I did not know that. That is wild.
It's impressive.
That is very impressive. Okay. How about Emily of Deep Valley?
Oh, this was for the Kindred Spirits Book Club. Kate House, Kindred Spirits Book Club. This was her first book for that. And it was very good.
It was very, very good. Oh dear. This is my first bot. Is this what a bot is?
Yeah.
I have never had a bot before. Now, how can
I think someone blocked it on the live chat because it's not showing up.
Thank you.
So whoever blocked it, thank you.
Appreciate you.
It's just showing up on our end on StreamYard still. So
yes.
Just ignore it.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Okay.
So it's been almost a year since we read this one. We read this in January.
Yes. This one was good. Such a treat. And Joanna read it with us too.
Yes, she did. And Rainy, apparently. Yeah, Rainy was on the live chat for it, the Zoom call. So Rainy was.
It's hard to remember. There were so many people.
There was a lot of people on that one. So I loved it.
Yes. I felt like Emily was so relatable, like more so to me than the Betsy Tacy characters.
Yeah, I had only read,
also adorable.
Yeah, I'd only read the first like one or two of Betsy Tacy, and to be honest, I didn't really enjoy them because they were more geared for a very young audience. Like my daughter really liked them, but knowing that Betsy Tacy grows with them as they grow makes me want to try it again. But Emily is much more geared for an older crowd. I wouldn't necessarily say it has to be adults. I think it'd be great for teenagers too, because it takes place when she is finishing high school and all her friends are going off to college and she's staying behind to care for her elderly grandfather. And so there's a feeling of displacement that's happening that I think every single teenager and young adult feels, whether or not they go away to college with their friends, whether or not they stay home, whatever. You're trying to figure out who you are. And I just really loved like her character growth throughout the story. I actually at the beginning didn't like it, the first couple chapters, because it seemed like it was going to be too saccharine. Like it seemed so sweet, everything's so perfect, and then her friends leave, and then it got really real. And it even tackled stuff like immigration and racism, in addition to like stuff that like was pretty like uncommon to see in books of that time period. So I thought that was really interesting too. Had a lot going on.
I think Kate, she may have referred to this as light academia as opposed to dark academia.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
And I loved that because it is like it tackles a lot of issues in there and it's very real, but it's also like kind and sweet, you know.
Yeah. You're thinking of Emily of New Moon by Ellen Montgomery, Krista. This is Emily of Deep Valley by Maud Hart Lovelace. It's a different book.
I think it's a standalone.
It is a standalone. So you are correct, though. That's the one thing I hate about the Emily series.
Oh, man.
She doesn't need to be there. But yeah, this is a different book. No creepy old man included.
That's an improvement.
But they're both Emily's. Emily of something. So
and they're both like classics.
Yes. And by Lucy Maud Montgomery and then Maud Hart Lovelace. We've got mods in there as well.
Yes. Oh, this is great. We have so many people here who have read this book.
Yes.
So what did you rate this time around?
I still rated it 5 stars. This was actually my absolute favorite book of all time when I was in high school and as a young adult. And for the past probably like, I don't know, 5 to 10-ish years, I've been like, can I still call it my favorite? It's been so long since I've read it. And then I discovered that I'd actually never read the unabridged version. The copy that I had like 800 pages in it, and I thought it was unabridged, and it was not. So I read the unabridged version for the first time this year, and I still absolutely thought that like the intricacies of it and all the plotting and all of that kind of stuff, I found it so fascinating. And so I still gave it 5 stars, but I would no longer say that this is like a favorite of all time book. That actually changed rereading it. And I think it's because I have changed from a very, very plot-based reader to a very character-driven one. So.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard you say that before, that you used to be more plot-based.
Oh yeah,
and now you're more
especially as a teenager. It was like if something wasn't, I mean, I did read some things that weren't fast-paced. I loved Dickens in high school, and obviously that's very character-based, but it has enough of a plot. Yeah, it has enough of a plot and twists and turns that it still worked for me. But I would say that that was more of an exception than the rule. I read a lot of like Christian thrillers and mysteries, and yeah, and I would say that Count of Monte Cristo is a much more plot-based classic than character-based. So while I found it fascinating and all the little pieces coming together, I didn't care as much about the characters as I could have. So
yeah, I feel like this is interesting because I've just been listening to a plot-based book with Kevin, and the whole time I was thinking, this is too long. I can't keep track of the characters. I don't care at all. And Kevin, meanwhile, is like loving it. He's like, yeah, let's read the whole trilogy. And I'm just like, okay. So I think really that was the same thing with the Count. It was like, it's like all about the development of a gigantic revenge plot.
right.
And we don't stick with him the whole time. A lot of times we're in like lots of other people's heads. So I just had the same problem with the Count that I had with this other book that I was talking about. I can't even remember the title. Like I cared about it that little.
Yeah,
So,
I think the Count is more like lurking behind the scenes. And then you see all the things that he's been doing that you didn't know he was doing, and it all pulls together. I think it's masterfully written, honestly, but it is more plot-based. So I think that that's why you had a harder time with it. And even though I rated it 5 stars, it could be trimmed down for sure. There are little plot lines in there that don't need to be there at all. Like even rereading it this time, most of the time I was still enjoying it and didn't feel like it was dragging. But that entire section on Luigi Vampa, I'm like, I don't care. Can we go back? Luigi Vampa didn't need to be in that book. I'm convinced. Sorry for those of you who might disagree, but you would be just, well, I was going to say you'd be just fine reading the abridged version, but there were whole plot lines that weren't in the abridged version that I actually felt like were really necessary, and there were things that I was confused about when I read it when I was younger that actually made sense because they cut out details that were kind of important.
Yeah, I think for people who are really the target audience of this book, they probably didn't mind the length and all the development scenes that I really hated.
Yeah.
So it's really like written for a certain type of person. So if you're plot-based, like
Rainy,
go for it. Yeah.
There are tangents, but gotta be patient.
Yes.
With it, I guess.
It's the nice thing about it, Rainy, is I feel like it's very good for audiobook. You know,
I agree.
It's a great
I listened to a chunk of it on audiobook.
Oh, I forgot that Emily of Deep Valley was part of the series.
It is, but you don't have to have read the series to understand it at all. They like Betsy, I think she makes an appearance in the book, but I don't think you have to have read them to enjoy it or understand any part of it. They live in the same town.
That's really the only connection.
Yeah, and that they meet each other. But
we didn't really do a description of what it's about, I guess. It's like
Count of Monte Cristo? Well,
yeah.
everyone knows what that's about.
Everyone knows. It's a revenge plot. That's
Yeah.
all you need to know.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on then. Okay, next. How about we talk about atomic habits?
Oh, yes.
So this one I got directly from Tiffany because she mentioned it several times in like Voxes and stuff. And I was so intrigued. I was like, let's try it on audio. Let's see if it works on audio. And it worked very well on audio. I listened to it on my own, and then I listened to it with Kevin on audio. And I was so fired up and like inspired by this book, although I haven't stuck with most of the changes that I made while I read it. But one change I did stick with, and it was great. So basically, this book is talking about how little changes in your daily life can like add up to really big changes in the long run if you build good habits. Like he talks about getting this really bad injury when he was a kid. He got a bat to the head when he was playing baseball, and he wanted to be a baseball player. So he had a long time where he had to recover by getting to bed early every night and not staying up playing video games was one example. And doing his homework, keeping up with his homework, like things that he was like, I'm going to need to really work hard to catch up. And it's really the responsibilities on me. So he has really, this strategy really worked for him. And I thought it was really cool. Tiffany there's some things like habit stacking that I feel like you can really, you can remember that and use it in your daily life. So it's very like applicable.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it is one of those books that I read a lot of, well, not a lot. I've read a decent amount of kind of like this same type of self-help book, and it makes me feel like excited for a time, but then it doesn't feel very practical in the long run. And I feel like this does, because I think that it works well for people who maybe aren't as motivated and organized, who are more of a type B personality rather than a type A personality, which I am a type B personality. So it was really helpful for me because I'm like, I feel like this works even if you're not like this super organized, super driven person. It's still going to work for you. Like it's very practical. And that's what I liked about it so much.
Mm-hmm. That is what dragged me in, was when you described it like that.
Yep.
So one habit that I stuck with from this book was cleaning the dishes after every meal so that I don't just have a pile of dishes at the end of the day. And I don't actually get to do it every single day. It depends on, what I'm doing, during my meal or right after my meal. But I've mostly stuck with that, and it's been like really nice to just have the kitchen clean, for most of the day rather than having dirty dishes in the sink for most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, was there anything that stuck with you from that?
Well, it did for a while, and then I got a puppy, and it totally messed with my sleep because a lot of the stuff that I was trying to work on were morning routines. I really wanted to get my butt in gear before we started the homeschool year, basically. Then we got a puppy, and he wasn't sleeping. And then he was fine in the crate, and he was kind of sleeping. He'd sleep through the night, but he would wake me up at like 4:00 in the morning. And then he stopped sleeping in his crate altogether again. And so at this point, we have now moved him into our bedroom at night, and he literally sleeps underneath me under the bed every single night. So he is letting me sleep now. So now I need to kind of like put this stuff back into practice, because I had a really long chunk of time where it's like I wasn't getting up at a consistent time because I was getting sleep wherever I could because I was not sleeping for months. So at first it was really sticking with me, but now I need to revisit that because now I'm ready to restart a morning routine. So
yay! Now that the puppy has grown up a little bit.
Yes. really, he just got his way and got to sleep with us because he has very bad separation anxiety. He was abandoned.
Oh,
so that is why he just hates being away from us.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think they're like mentioned. Like Emily knew who Betsy was.
Yeah. But I think she's a couple years older, so.
Like, you're publishing a book?
Wow.
What? Wow. That is cool.
That's really cool. I still haven't watched Doctor Who.
Oh, I think you would love it. It's fun. I haven't watched all of it. I watched like the first 2 seasons or something.
My younger sister loves it, all of it.
I know. It seems like people who really love it just really, really love it.
It's a big fandom.
Yes. Okay. The Red Palace by John.
And this I read because Christy read it and recommended it to me. Yes.
So this is like, I was so gripped by this one from the very beginning because I remember it was still early days in my Korean when I read this. And every time I would see a Korean word spelled out in romanization, I was like, I know how you spell that in Hangul. So it was just so exciting. And I loved it from the very beginning. I was so gripped. And this is more, I don't normally read mysteries and I don't normally read plot-driven things. So this was kind of an unusual one for me. But I think because the setting was, I don't even remember what year. It was sometime in the Joseon period of Korea's history, set in Korea, set in a palace.
Like 17th century, I feel like. Could be wrong.
I don't even remember. Because she has written several historical mysteries in Korea, and they're all at different times, so I don't remember. But yeah, I found the setting to this really fascinating. I loved the main character. She's a nurse who is called in one night to minister to the prince, and she sees that it's not actually the prince. And but she's told she has to keep it a secret that it's not the prince, and just say, oh yeah, the prince is ill, that's why he's not coming out of his bedroom, basically. And it starts out from there. Like, it was a really interesting mystery to me. I listened to most of it, which I think made a difference. I feel like people who read it physically didn't enjoy it as much as I did on audiobook. And I know the other person who also loved it, who recommended it to me, Charmaine, from Traveling Through Books, she also listened to it. She's a big audiobooker. So I think the audiobook made a big difference for us.
Yeah, I physically read it, and I still enjoyed it because it was very unique and because I am so interested in Korean culture. So I think I still enjoyed it for that reason. But yes, it was very plot driven, and also it's YA, and it for sure has some YA tropes in there. But I will say that this is one of those books as well. I'm constantly on the look because my daughter is 10 and she is getting to the point where it won't be too long until she probably wants to dive into some YA. And a lot of YA seems to be geared more towards college students than high school students. And so if she starts reading YA at like, I don't know, 12, I don't really want her reading like Sarah J. Maas or,
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that kind of toes some lines. And this is a book that I think is actually really written for teenagers.
Yeah.
And I think that teenagers would really enjoy and was actually like pretty clean content wise. So I think even for the younger end of YA that they would still enjoy it, even like, 12 and 13-year-olds. So, which I felt
like it was a little bloody, but
yeah, you're right. It is violent. It is violent.
All of her books are like surprisingly violent to me. I'm just like, wow, this is YA, but also not like to an adult level, I would say.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I actually don't. I mean, it did have blood in it. You're correct. But I don't remember it feeling like super violent to me. More than like a YA fantasy that I had read or something where there's fight scenes and there's, whatever. Like, it didn't feel, I mean, I guess there is a murderer. It is a murder mystery. People are dying.
There's a serial killer.
Yeah, it's a serial killer. But it didn't feel, I don't know, it didn't feel like a lot of other YAs that I've read that feel like they're trying to push the envelope or are more geared towards college students who can handle different content than, kids in junior high.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm kind of looking for my daughter. So even though it's kind of more on the violent end, I still felt like it was more appropriate.
I feel like this is one of those kind of rare young adult books that's not supposed to be super emotional. Whereas a lot of young adult books really lean into, like, say, there is a romance in this book, but I feel like you don't really lean into the, like, when there's something being developed, it's usually not the romance. It's not leaning into that emotional side that's very YA to me. So it felt more
angsty.
No, it's not angsty.
It's not very angsty. There's decent communication between the love interests, which is hard to find that modeled well in YA, which to me is annoying. I'm like, why would we not want to give books that model healthy relationships to kids who are navigating relationships for the first time?
Yes.
So that's my soapbox. I'll get off it quick. But yeah, I just felt like it was one of those ones that's good for teenagers. I felt the same way about Son of the Deep as well. Like that those were a couple of books that we read together that were YA, but felt like very appropriate for even the younger end of YA.
Mm-hmm. And I think, this one was more, really literally more about the setting and the mystery than anything else.
Yeah.
So, which I feel like I remember getting requests from younger readers who were just becoming YA readers in the library. And they asked, one of them was like, wanting mystery recommendations. And I was like, are there YA mysteries? Like, are there very many? I just don't feel like there are a lot of good ones to recommend. But now I have one. So, yay. Woohoo! That's exciting. Yeah, I agree. Because if you're a teenager, you're feeling a lot of angst. So they relate to that a lot. And we're just not in that age range anymore. So yeah, I think it's okay to have angst in YA. It's just not as fun to read as an adult, which is okay. Because if you're an adult reading YA, you just got to know that going in.
Yeah, I was a very angsty teenager, and I just choose not to revisit that because I lived through it so long.
Yes.
That I don't want to relive it.
All right, next we have the Spy Family manga.
Yes.
This was another one that Tiffany recommended. And I also saw that there was a lot of idols reading or watching it, Korean idols, and I was so intrigued.
I've not watched the anime show yet, but I've read
I haven't either.
The first 5 volumes of the manga series so far.
Yeah. Wow, the first 5.
They're short.
Yeah. I still haven't finished the first one.
Well, I just read them in the summer. I started them a long time ago, so.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been trying to get Christy to read them for months.
Yes. I'm already reading like 3 or 4 manga series, so I was like, do I really need another one? But as soon as I started reading it, I was like, yeah, I need this one. Definitely, I need it. So this one is following family. Well, it's following, first of all, a little girl. No, actually, it starts out with the guy, I think. There's a man who is is he a spy or he's a spy, right? So, and he has to build a family so that they can infiltrate a school. So he needs to find a daughter. So he adopts this little girl, and the charm of the story is in the illustrations. It's all the way through, but for me, the little girl in the orphanage is so adorable because she can read minds. And so she knows instantly that he's a spy, and she's just like, that's so cool. I want to go home with him. And so the family starts there, and it just grows a little bit, and it's so funny. It's just funny and cute. definitely my vibe.
Yeah, there's a lot of secrets that people are thinking they're keeping from each other, because the little girl is a telepath, but he does not know she's a telepath. So he doesn't know that she knows that he's a spy. And then he marries a woman who's an assassin. He doesn't know she's an assassin. She doesn't know he's a spy. The little girl knows both these things, and they don't know that she knows. So it's hilarious.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, them not knowing that she knows everything they're thinking it makes for some great comedic moments.
It's very funny. Oh, you DNF'd it?
Oh, too bad.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I
Yay!
haven't had one that I've disliked so far. I think they have published either through volume 8 or volume 9. I can't remember which.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm only through volume 5. I did just get volume 6 from my library. They just got it in. So.
Yes. That's really cool that they're actually buying them.
Yes, I talked them into it. I was like, can you order this? Because they were looking for more manga series. And I was like, can you get Spy Family?
Yes. I'm always like a little bit nervous going into manga if it's gonna be like too adult for me. But
I am too.
There's definitely some that I run across that were like, oh, okay. Like when I was a teenager, it was in the kids section. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, I'm good.
Yeah. That was something I was concerned about too, but I heard about this series from Chantel Reads All Day, and she's pretty picky about that kind of stuff. So I knew that I could trust her recommendation and that it wasn't going to be content that I didn't want.
Yes. Oh, so highly recommend that series so far. Although I'm not very far, but I just love the vibes.
It's good vibes.
And Adorn the Wall. This is our final one. Woo! Yay. We made it. We made it.
It only took us 2 hours to get here.
Yes. Thank you if you're still here. Wow, you guys are really like amazing hanging in there.
Yeah, we thought this was gonna be like an hour long.
Yeah, sorry.
Too many side tangents, I guess. Well, even if it
wasn't, chatting,
probably still would have been long.
Even without Jane Austen, we would have been at least a half an hour or an hour and a half. I mean.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, this one is a middle grade historical fiction about a boy living in England. I don't know the year. Do you?
No, it's during the plague though. So it's medieval times.
So yeah, he and everybody he knows basically gets sick and a bunch of them die. And that's basically where you begin the book. Is he's in bed and he's paralyzed like from the waist down or something. I think it's from the waist down.
Yep.
And he's just very grumpy, as a child would be in that situation, as anybody would be. But there's a monk who really sort of comes to his rescue and teaches him to not be sensitive about disability and how to joke and how to be useful and how to find a place in the world. And just really, it's like really I haven't thought in depth about it because I haven't quite finished it, but it's just, I really appreciated the disability representation in this book. And I just thought the setting was so real. You just feel like you're there. Yeah. And there's a plot and it has character. I mean, it has a lot of character. I just think it's really good.
Yes, I agree. This is another one that I read twice. Once that I read to vet it to see if I wanted to read it with Claire for school, and then we did. So the second time I got read was not that long before Christy. So
yes, yeah, I was when Kate from no compliments to your mother on Twitter, but she's actually Kate Howe, not Twitter, Instagram, but she's actually Kate Howe here on YouTube. She told us about it in one of her Patreon chats, and then I showed it to Tiffany when I got it from the library, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Claire and I love that." And I was like, "Okay, sold. I'm reading this." So
yes, it's a good one.
It's really good.
Love the character development of Robin, the boy, throughout the book.
Yes, yeah,
he really grows as a person.
Yes, and this is a Newbery too, right?
I think it is. If it's not a Newbery Award winner, it's a Newbery honor.
Mm-hmm. and it deserves it.
For sure. For sure.
It's aged well.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Oh, Krista.
I was thinking about you and wondering if you'd
I
read
didn't
it.
realize you hadn't heard that. You hadn't heard anything about it? Wow. I guess
Really
it's
good.
very popular in the homeschool community. So I had been hearing about it for years before I read it. Because
I
it's
hadn't
great
heard
to pair
about it
with, like, when
before.
we were studying medieval times was when we read it. So it was cool to have a historical fiction that was adjacent to that time period.
This would be perfect for that.
It was great. I hope
I feel like I would have loved it as a kid too.
Mm-hmm. Claire.
Yes. Yay, we did it! Celebrate. Touchdown!
We read 1,000,000 books together. 1,000,000.
Yes. And there will be 1,000,000 more next year, I'm sure.
We already have a list started. We'll see how many of them we actually get through.
Yes. One of them is Moby Dick, and I'm like so nervous.
Me too. I'm terrified of it. But we figured maybe we can do it together.
Yeah.
Moby Dick, Fathers and Sons, some other things. Can't remember what else. There were other books.
I don't know either. There's a lot though.
Those are the two.
There's
that I
Korean
remember.
one. There's Lady Haegyeon.
Yeah, there's a Korean one we're reading together also.
Yes.
A Korean nonfiction from like the 17th century. It's like memoirs. Super cool.
Yes. Oh, I almost just clicked ended broadcast.
Suddenly we're not there.
Oh, did you actually read it, Krista? Just curious. Oh, yes.
Aww. I love that.
Yes. So that maybe
really
that I had never heard of it. So that's interesting. It's like a homeschooling one.
Yeah, it's very popular. Bye, Rainy.
Bye, Rainy. Thanks for hanging out. Yes, this was so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming. Oh, we love you. Get better, Victoria.
Yes. Hugs to you and Alessandro.
Yes. Hey, wow.
And this was without sprints. Dang, girl.
You were just productive, period, while hanging out.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Well, I guess that is the end. And thank you for hanging out. And we'll talk to you all very soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
Goodbye.